Alright, different video here for you. Here we have the $95 Lenovo ThinkPad featuring the amazing Ryzen 5 Pro 2500U with Radeon RX Vega 8 graphics, as you can see right there. So I got this computer off of eBay for, you guessed it, $95. And the whole point of it is basically to do a YouTube video, use it for school, because the 2500U is not exactly a powerhouse, although it does actually work for some light and moderate gaming, as you will see in this video. So this is going to be a review and kind of overview, I guess you can say, of this laptop. So as you can see up top, we have 12 gigabytes or 11 that are usable, because 1 gig is dedicated to the integrated graphics. More on that later. We have 12 gigabytes of DDR4 running at 2400 megahertz dual channel. Those two things I just said are very important for integrated graphics. Dual channel, high memory speed. If you got both of those, that's about as best as you're ever going to get out of integrated graphics. Anyways, this CPU is clocked at a base frequency of 2 gigahertz. It can go up to, I think it's 3.5. Realistically, you're never going to see that unless it's like very specific. All core turbos around 2.2 to 2.8 gigahertz, depending on thermals and all that. So still respectable, but not the fastest. As you can see, I have Buckshot Roulette running here in the background. That's the first game we're going to be trying. Before we do, let me just show you. Don't mind the mess. This is a work in progress kind of studio area. Backlit keyboard. Not bad for 95 bucks, eh? It has dual batteries. Not bad for 95 bucks, right? Here's the kicker. It's only 4400 milliamp hour, which really isn't that much. It'll get you a couple hours of battery life, maybe. There's an internal and an external battery. The internal battery on this is still good at 91% battery health, I think, with only 27 battery cycles. So honestly, the internal battery is really good. The external battery, well, it's at about 9% battery health, and that only lasts about a few minutes. So anyways, this is, as you can probably see, the A485 model number. Buckshot Roulette is running at about 30 frames a second, which honestly isn't the best, considering this isn't a very hard to run game. But you know, I'm just going to enter a random name because I'm only going to be honest for probably 30 seconds just to show you. The game does runs perfectly fine, just not the best per se. I'm not going to show much because I don't want to get, you know, I wouldn't say demonetized, but in trouble for shooting myself basically if I get this wrong. So I'm just going to probably leave it here. As you can see, game runs pretty good. Graphics is, well, just struggling at 100%. So next game we're going to try is going to be Beam.NG Farming Simulator Black Mesa, which is a Half-Life 1 remake, maybe Roblox, just to get an idea. And then I'm going to do basic web browsing and video playback, and then final verdict. So with me shutting up now, let's go play the next game of Beam.NG Drive. Alright, so while we are waiting for this to finish loading in, let's go over a couple more of the specs I forgot to mention. Now, this has a fingerprint reader on the right side, which you cannot see because it's pretty dark in the room right now, so you wouldn't be able to see it. But just under the power button on the right side, there is a fingerprint reader, because this Lenovo ThinkPad is actually an ex-business business computer. So that's part of the reason why it has dual batteries as well, I think. But this came from a business. It has a fingerprint reader, which is nice. It also has the classic Lenovo nub, where you can move the mouse around, which, there it is. As you can see, you can move the mouse around. Anyways, this also has a USB Type-C with support up to 65 watts of charging. So any USB-C charger will work as long as it's at least 45 watts, because anything less than 45 watts, yeah, good luck with that. 45 watts is barely enough for this anyway. So, as you can see, Beam.NG is running at around 30 frames a second on the Utah map. Believe it or not, you actually get pretty much exactly the same FPS on grid map. And there's a reason for that. Power limiting and RAM. This laptop is, like I said before, as you saw, it's only got 12 gigs of RAM, which 12 is plenty. But for a game like Beam.NG Drive, and you got the iGPU sharing the RAM, 12 gigs in reality ain't that much. I'd say with 16, it'd probably get a couple more frames a second, honestly. But as you can see, it's running at about 30 frames. These are at the low graphic settings, so a little bit of stuttering. That's probably power limiting kicking in, because this is limited to about 25 to 30 watts, I believe. How I know? Because if I open up hardware info, it'll say about 27 watts on their full load. And considering when I do that, the charging slows down considerably, I'm going to say it is probably around 27 watts. So, as you can see, it is running perfectly fine. This is definitely playable. Just like I said, do be aware, there are some stutters here and there because power limiting, all that. Realistically, you could probably play this on normal. I haven't tried it, but normal graphics, which is like medium basically for this game, it would probably run okay. You might get more dips or so. Yeah. This is also running at 1080p because this is a 1080p screen, which you might be able to tell from the video. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty crisp. Not in a bad way, but it looks pretty good. I bet if I ran this full screen in 720p or 1366 by 768, it probably would get even more FPS. But at 1080p, let's try this again. 1080p, wow, I'm having a bad day. 1080p windowed, it runs perfectly playable. Let's move on to the next game, shall we? Alright, so while we wait for this to load up, I'm going to tell you something else. I'm not sure if I said it before, but this also has a backlit keyboard, which you can kind of see right there. It is actually, well, it's similar in brightness to, I want to say, the MacBook. So it's decently bright. Definitely not the brightest in the world, but it's definitely nice to have when it's dark in the room. Anyways, next up we have Black Mesa, which is a Half-Life 1 remake, but as you can see, it's a lot better graphics and more modern game engine. Here are the graphic settings, 1128 by 634. That can't be right. No, that can't be right. It looks way better than that. Alright, disregard that resolution. That resolution is not right. Overall quality is set to potato, but yet most of the graphics here are set on high. Medium. Okay. So we got some high, low, and medium. So it's kind of a mix. Not sure why the resolution says it's that low. To me, it looks like it's at least 720p. So I don't buy that resolution. I mean, it looks a lot better than that. Yeah, I don't know what that's about, but whatever. As you can see, it is running pretty much at 60 frames a second, no problem. I'm not going to go too much farther in the game because, well, I don't think it's going to change a whole lot, but anyways, here you are with your Half-Life 1 gameplay, I guess you can say, but it's running really, really good. Couple stutters here and there, but that could just be the game, could be power limiting, could be thermal. I don't think it's thermal. It's running perfectly fine, honestly. Yeah, alright, I'm not going to go any farther with this. Alright, so next I'm going to do Roblox, and after Roblox I'm going to do video streaming, and then my final thoughts on this computer. Alright, so here we are in Roblox. I was debating whether or not to do Roblox because every game does vary in performance because some games are more intensive than others, but I decided to do it anyway just to give you an idea. So this is a game called Forklift Simulator, which, well, is what it is. It is what it says. You got forklifts and you move stuff on pallets to different places and make money. So, Forklift Simulator. We don't talk about my stats. I do play this game a lot because it is actually somewhat surprisingly relaxing and satisfying. Anyways, as you can see, it's running perfectly fine. This is at the maximum graphics slider on Roblox. I'm going to say it's probably between 40 and 50 FPS or so. Even 60 at times, depends where you look. But like I said, Roblox is highly subjective to changing because each game is different. Each game is its own thing. You know, people can change the graphics in Roblox Studios and all that crap. So, if you want to play Forklift Simulator, it'll work perfect. Roblox in general should work perfect, but just do keep in mind, some games will be more intensive, and other games you would have to turn down those graphic settings to maybe medium or so. I mean, it just kind of depends on the game. All right, next up. Video streaming and playback, I should say. Okay, this is take number 3 of trying to get video streaming to work. It is not the computer's fault. It's entirely my fault and Google Chrome's fault. My fault for installing Windows 11 on a computer that doesn't technically support it, and I kept getting issues with the black screen and crashing. Again, that's my fault. It's not computer's fault, not a hardware fault. It's my fault for using an unsupported operating system on a computer that doesn't support it. And Google Chrome, for some reason, was having issues with YouTube. I'm now on Microsoft Edge, running 4K with 3 dropped frames. I mean, this thing is perfectly fine for, as you can see, it's 4K right there. This computer is perfectly fine for daily browsing, watching videos, you know, school, homework, classwork, work. I mean, it's good for anything, basically, anything like that. As you can see, it's working fine. If, you know, note to self, if you buy this computer, or you know somebody who does buy this computer, do not put Windows 11 on it. You will probably have issues with, well, crashing like I am having. So, note to self, note to yourself as well, do not put Windows 11 on an unsupported computer. It doesn't go well. So, what is my final verdict on the $95 computer from eBay? Well, honestly, it's pretty good. For 95 bucks, I would definitely recommend this computer to anybody who wants a laptop for basic work or even light gaming. It works perfectly fine. The Ryzen 5 2500U with Vega 8 graphics, still perfectly usable in 2024. Now, granted, this computer was released many years ago. The batteries are probably going to be more than cooked. For example, I might have mentioned it earlier in the video, this computer has 2 batteries, internal and external. So, how it works, the external battery gets used, and once the external dies, it automatically switches to the internal seamlessly. So, what that essentially does is you can have a bunch of external batteries for, say you're going somewhere where you don't have access to a charger, and you can just keep going all day. Now, that is one good thing I really do like about this computer. Another good thing I like about this computer is it uses USB-C. So anything with USB-C charger with at least 45 watts, you're good to go. I'd recommend 65 watts because if you start playing a game while charging with the 45 watt charger, you're not going to get very far. It's going to charge really slowly, trying to charge and play a game at the same time. Keep that in mind. As you can see, backlit keyboard. I mean, it's not automatic like a MacBook. You have to manually turn it on, which is fine. But if you're used to a MacBook with the automatic backlight keyboard, you're going to be disappointed. I/O, you get, I believe it's two or three USB Type 3s. So perfectly fine for high speed data transfers to USB. You get 2 USB-Cs, one for charging and another for, I guess, external devices. I haven't tried it yet, but it is a Type-C. You get a 1920 by 1080p screen at 60 hertz, 60 hertz, whatever. But fine for a business laptop, fine for daily use, but it is 1080p, so it does look actually really good. It does have a fingerprint reader over here, so if you like that kind of thing, you got it. It's got the classic Lenovo nub, as you can see. I don't know why you'd want to use this, but it's a thing. So overall, if you are in the market, or you know somebody who's in the market for a cheap laptop, you just need to do work on, you just need to do homework on, you just need to do this or that, or even, you know, video watching, or even some light games, I have to give this thing an 8 or 9 out of 10 for what it is. Just do keep in mind, you should definitely get some more RAM and new batteries. It is the ThinkPad A485 if you're interested. So usually they go for about 100 to 150 bucks on eBay, depending on where you look. I got mine for 95 bucks because it does not have a charger included. So if you go for something like that, you'll probably save a couple bucks. If you want slightly more powerful and slightly more power efficient hardware for a similar price, you can go for any Dell or Lenovo, Dell Inspiron or whatever it is, or ThinkPad with the the Ryzen 5 3500U. That is the next generation above this. It has slightly better performance and slightly better power efficiency. So if you're all about that, squeezing every little bit out of your iGPU or CPU, and you ain't got any money, I recommend going the one generation newer for that. So anyways, you have reached the end of the video. If you're still here, if you have, congratulations. You've listened to me ramble on for about 15 minutes, I believe this video is going to be. So if you enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe and share. And if you're interested, I will do another video reviewing a laptop, because why the hell not, right? Anyways, till next time, see you around.